He knew what he wanted to be from the time he could talk. He wanted to be a cop. I was never scared about his line of work. I knew that this is what the Lord had called him into, and this was what he had dreamed about, and I figure if God had called him to this job, this vocation, that he had a purpose in him being there. And so I prayed him up every night as he left, and I went to bed because he worked the graves. My husband Eddie and I met at a church picnic officially the first time, but we went to school together. Initially, I wasn't attracted to him at all. I thought he was a little cocky. He had a huge amount of confidence about who he was and what he was gonna do, and yeah, he was something. He had strong character, and I think that kind of won me over. He was really funny, and I don't know, that arrogance got him far because it attracted me. He was actually probably my best friend. We started dating when I was 20, and he was 22, and we got married when I was 22, and he was 24. Right after our first year of marriage, I got pregnant with him. You know, Eddie was really excited to be a dad, and so that he was over the moon when we found out that, one, we were pregnant, but two, that we were having a boy, because of course every dad wants a son. And so to have our first child be a boy, he was so excited about. He was born January 22nd, 2013. His name, Levi Clayton. Levi was my pick, Clayton was Eddie's pick. Mash them together. I'm like, that was pretty simple. He is such a joy. He is a total kick in the pants and has a lot of drama, just like his dad. And that's a little ridiculous. But he is a little mini-me of his father, and it's amazing. Every single look he gives is his dad coming out in him. It's amazing how much they look alike. We talked about death a lot in our home because of his job. But it's a cop. They have to think about those things on the job, and he wanted to make sure that that I would be emotionally, physically, spiritually, everything taken care of. So while I was pregnant, we started really talking about it, getting stuff in order. We need to have that stuff taken care of as parents. What if something happens to both of us? And we go together, we want to make sure that Levi's taken care of. And so, I kind of started hounding him about getting a will. We should probably start thinking about life insurance and just making sure our life is taken care of should something happen to us. 6 months into my pregnancy, he started talking to Patty about life insurance and the different policies, what he could do with work versus what he could do with farmers.
I met Eddie and Rachael the summer of 2012 when their policies were assigned to my agency. One of the things we do at Farmers is we have an annual review with our policyholders. That's called a Farmers Friendly Review. In that review, one of the things we discussed is that they didn't have their life insurance with Farmers. So that began the conversation about their need for life insurance. Eddie actually qualified for our best rating category, which is Platinum Elite. I remember calling to let him know because that's really good rates. And at his young age, that was a very good thing. The policy was issued in March, and I delivered that to them. Again, congratulated them on making this really wise decision to help protect their family for the future.
Our policy actually was approved mid-March, and it is by the grace of God that we got it in when we did. because a month and a half later he was gone. A month after our second anniversary, Eddie had a cardiac arrest on our front lawn. There's a lot of things that go through your mind at that moment. I remember sitting next to Eddie screaming at him to breathe. And he wouldn't respond. And the paramedics got there and they shocked his heart 5 times before they got a response. I was by myself at the hospital for probably an hour, just waiting to see what was happening before I got to see him. And he just wasn't there. We found out at his autopsy that he had a congenital heart defect. And it was something that you wouldn't find unless you were looking for it. His artery was buried into his heart, and so every time his heart pumped, it closed off the artery. But because of the extra stress involved with work and with the baby and not sleeping, it also paired with a rhythmic disorder, which created the perfect storm. They actually call it the widowmaker, and it's what you see a lot of athletes just drop from for no particular reason at all. They just drop, and that's what happened to Eddie. He was here and then he wasn't. Eddie being 26, we kind of thought we were invincible. You don't think about death in your early 20s, especially not 2 years into marriage and having your first baby. As much as we joked about it because of the job, you never think it's actually going to happen. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have Eddie go and get life insurance, because I wasn't working. I was a stay-at-home mom, and he was our sole provider. And I don't know if I can stress enough how important it is to actually have something like that in place. It's something that you don't think about, and it kind of seems like a hassle to go and get, but it is so important, and it is worth it, because you don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow.